Friction as a Service by Dina Marais. For years, the software industry have been trying to eliminate friction in everything. Every product designed in the past 2 decades have been betting on the same thing, that the outcome is more important than the process. Reduce the time from intent to decision and you get better UX, more conversions and more revenue, until you realize that every removed click from an interface has a decision you stopped making. And in the middle of this AI wave, most of what we've stopped deciding is exactly what we should be slowing down on. And I think this is such a good take. It reminds me of a conversation that I had on my podcast that I did a couple of years back. But it's so true that when you don't have, it's not only the decision part, it's also the friction is how you think. The good thing about writing a text, not using an LM, of course, but writing a text as we did a couple of years ago, which I strive to do as often as I can, is that the process of writing is the process of thinking. And I develop my theses and my thinking and my way of just, thinking about a subject by the act of typing. And the article goes on. The most ridiculously obvious fact about AI is that it has replaced our innate human capability to struggle with anything. Like everything with frictionless design, outsourcing our struggle means that we are outsourcing who we could have become if we had put up with it. And this is such a good take. And I actually try to go into different weird topics from time to time in order to struggle with it a little bit. I did a course on database design the other day. It's so fascinating, but I could also just go into a chatbot and ask it to design a database for me. I don't know if it would be perfect, but it would sort of solve the problem for me. But instead, I spent 3 weeks understanding how to create a database and then also how to write the database in SQL, just in order to understand on a deeper level. And what that means is that I can also have a conversation with technical people and not make a fool out of myself, so that I can collaborate better with people that are good with databases and understand how data works. And I think removing that struggle, it takes away something from you. You want to have that struggle in order to learn more things and become a stronger, better person. So the article continues. This is why I believe we're in dire need of a new way of AI product design. Products designed with the exact opposite of this intent. Products that reward the struggle instead of pushing against it. I agree, but I don't think that's where we're going. I don't think people like struggling. I think there's going to be a subset of, open source wrappers and ways of working with AI that introduces friction. But I think that's going to have to come from us, the people that are interested in this, because I don't see the masses sort of being drawn to that very much. And if they're not, why would people spend a lot of money on that? I think that is not necessarily very plausible. So the article continues. This untapped, I guess, product category does not have a name that I know of, but I'd like to call it frictional AI. Instead of AI offering quick solutions, it helps the person becoming a better person at coming up with a solution by slowing them down. What if we design products where AI holds up a mirror to our thinking and nudges us past it, the way a good mentor would? This could span everything from language apps that reward you for the wrong attempts to AI tutors that refuse to give you the answer. You ask what the derivative of X is, and it does not give you the answer before asking you what the definition of a derivative is. I think it's interesting. And maybe in education, this is true, that this could be the case. But if you look at things like GPSs are great. And it does help you get to where you want to go. But for many, many people, it also hinders you from learning how to get from A to B without looking at a GPS, but rather a map, or just, I don't know, navigating from the sun, which, like, personally, I think that's fun to do that. I think it's fun to try and figure out, if I'm here and the sun is there, likely I would need to go that way to get home. And I think that there is a space for that, but for a lot of things, I think we're going to outsource a lot of the thinking and a lot of the effort that we put into things. If you're interested in this, I know of an author, Chris Nossel, who has been talking a lot about this. I haven't gotten around to reading his book, his new design book of around AI, but I do believe that he has a lot of answer to these questions and how you can do this. So the edtech space examples are just anecdotes to a much more generic lens on how we could approach the problem of the cognitive debt the entire world has been accumulating. The vision behind these types of products just feels like seatbelts. You resent it in the moment, but over time you forget you're wearing it, and it's the reason you're still here. I truly believe that the only way to survive all the things in life is by not rejecting but growing around it. This means we can and should use AI itself to rebuild the kind of thinking it has been eroding. For me, frictional AI feels like a true light at the end of the tunnel in a growing sea of AI slop. I'd like to believe this would be the new differentiator. In a very utopian world, of course, that dismisses the fact that most products are built in this way by design to serve capitalistic intents, but dreaming big never hurts anyone. And I think this is good. And it reflects conversations that I have with, again, Chris Nossel and David Griffith-Jones a couple of years back. I'm going to give this a clap if I can. I'm not going to do that now. I'll do that later. Where, yes, you should introduce friction, especially if it gives you an opportunity to become better. I think when you're creating products, this is also very, very important, because you need to have a little bit of friction in order to sort of stress test your ideas and not just build the mean of what could be built. If you have a good product idea, doing things the hard way and testing things and going out to speaking to people and taking that and building a prototype without using too much AI and then refining that based on feedback, all of these things are hard, and you can bypass that by using something like Figma Make or Claude Design, and sure, you can, but you're going to end up with very much the mean of what can be achieved if you think around it and you become very good at creating things.